It's been 8 long months, but I'm back to give you an update on this Atari Arcade Stick behind me. So let's just go ahead and check it out. Welcome to Mike Texts It Out. If you're new to the channel, I'm Mike. If you're not new to the channel, I'm still Mike. I'm Mike either way, so I don't know why I said that. But this is the channel where I talk about things around the house and also the news. I don't know why I said that. But either way, one of the things I have around this house is this Atari Arcade Stick behind me. A lot of people have been asking about it in the comments of the original video, so this is just a quick follow-up video. One thing that you might notice immediately if you watch the original video, this is a different monitor. So this monitor I've had for a while. It is the Acer XF270H. It is a 144 hertz, I believe, 1080p 27-inch monitor. Has a TN panel, nothing too crazy, but at one point it was my primary monitor for my computer, but I've gotten new monitors for video editing and gaming. And then after that, I moved it over to my treadmill to do my workout videos. But then we got a TV for that, or we got a new TV and then an old TV got moved over there. So anyway, that monitor moved from the treadmill to over here, and it looks a lot better than that old 24-inch monitor. And even though this is a TN panel, the colors are still a lot more vibrant. Plus I have the high refresh rate, which to be honest, for an arcade, I'm not really gonna use, but at least it's a gaming monitor, and it's once again being used for gaming. And I also think this is the perfect size for this Atari Fight Stick. I imagine it would probably look even better on the version with the track box. It's a little bit bigger, but it kind of encompasses the whole thing. The other big change I've made under the hood or under the desk is I'm actually using a Windows computer. So another thing I got from my old job was an old Dell Optiplex 3020 that they were going to throw away. Specs aren't great. The good thing about this computer is it did have Windows 8 Pro, so I was able to install Windows 10 Pro up there, so I didn't have to worry about an operating system. And from there, I went and installed Launchbox. So originally I was on Launchbox. I played around with it for a little bit. Now Launchbox is great for a free program on Windows, but the big limitation is you can't use the arcade controls to pick the games. So I did end up upgrading to Launchbox Premium, which gives you big box, which is what's going on behind me. That lets you use your arcade controls. It gives you a full big screen experience, which you would expect from a traditional arcade. I could have continued using the Raspberry Pi 3B that came with this Atari Arcade Stick, but there were just certain limitations, like when it came to anything that had 3D, it just really didn't work that well up there. Now I read that you can overclock it, but I really don't like overclocking. It's a lot of tinkering, and then you might still not get the performance that you want. The main thing I wanted to run that it was having issues with was Marvel vs. Capcom 2, the Dreamcast version. Because of the 3D, it just ran very slow, and that game doesn't really even have that much 3D. The other issue I was having with it was just managing my game library on RetroPie. So it did this thing where I would delete games and then they would come back. Like as soon as I rebooted the system, they would come back. And yes, I was doing the safe restart and making sure to exit out so it saved. And not all the games would come back either, it was just certain games. And I had so many ROMs up there that it just would have taken forever to go through all those folders and figure out which game was which. That got frustrating. There was definitely a 2-hour period where I sat down, tested every game, and deleted all the ones that weren't working. And then after I restarted, they all came back. I reformatted, did the same thing again, and there was just a bunch of games that came back. I keep saying they all came back, but not all of them came back. There was just, like, I would say maybe like half the games just added themselves back. And even if I turned off the feature where it would search for ROMs automatically, it would still just come back. I don't know what it was, it just kept coming back. The other thing is, RetroPie is cool, but it does require quite a bit more tinkering. And I'm just one of those people with certain things, like an arcade, I wanted to get it set up because it was around that time where we were starting to have people over again. And I was like, you know what? I just want a working arcade. So when people come over, they'll see it and they want to play stuff. And that did happen. Like this attract screen that I have up there, people were attracted to it. It works. People were attracted to the attract screen. So people came over here and they were just playing stuff, and it's super easy just to hit the button. Like if it's on a game that you want to play, you just hit the button and then you can hop right into it. Plus, I haven't really had any of those issues on Windows. Big Box just automatically downloads all the artwork and everything for you. It matches all the stuff. It's super easy to use. There are 2 premium versions, so we got the cheaper $30 one. That one, you get a year of updates included. If you want to get updates after that, then it's $15 for another year of updates. Or there's a $75 version that you just get unlimited updates for a lifetime. So I just got the $30 version. It wouldn't be too bad just to pay the $15. every now and again if I do want to see like what's new. So I was fine with doing the cheaper version, but $30 really isn't bad for this software. It does feel a bit more premium than RetroPie. Obviously, I can't really complain about RetroPie either because it's free and it runs on something like the Raspberry Pi, so it's super cool still, but again, I just want something with more power. Even with this being an older i3, it still can run things like Dreamcast games with no issue. Like I added Sonic Adventure up here and Power Stone 2 because you can't really get that game anywhere, and I love that game. As far as how these buttons and everything have held up, they've really held up great. Like I've had no issues with it. I've definitely played on this thing for hours, and they've been super fun. They were super responsive. I like how clicky they are. Now I do wish that I would have got the trackball version because now it came up recently where certain people in my house are like, you know, I want to play some trackball games, so we might get the trackball version. I'm like, you should have told me in the first place, and I could have just got the trackball version. But yeah, if the trackball version is not too much more expensive, I think it's like maybe like $20 more, just get that version, because even if you don't think you want it, you probably will want it in the future. As far as setting it up in Windows, it's super easy. Basically, you can just unplug the sticks and plug them into whatever other USB device you want to. And then Windows, you just have to map the controls in whatever program you're using. So I had to map them from Big Box plus any other emulator that I was using. But after that, they're pretty much good to go. It just automatically worked with the Windows drivers. So it was really hassle-free. It wasn't a big thing to switch over to Windows. If anybody is considering buying this and using this on Windows, it's a great experience. I actually still have the Pi inside there. It's just completely unhooked. In case I ever do want to go back to the built-in games, I might see if there's a way to pull those ROMs off and dump them into Windows. I haven't really checked yet, but I don't want to completely erase the games that came with it since they're like, you know, official ROMs that I actually paid for as part of this deal. Anyway, that's the end of my rant and my update video about this Atari Arcade. But if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button bell thing so you can get notified when I drop a video. And I always do at least 2 things at the same time.